My name is Raghav and I want to talk about Mulan. Mulan is the live-action adaptation of Disney's 1998 animated classic based on the Chinese folklore The Ballad of Mulan. It's been a long time since I saw the original, so I basically went into this movie with a blank slate, and let me say that it leaves a lot to be desired. The movie features bland performances, slow treatment, and dull and often clunky action. Mulan is directed by Nikki Caro, who is a white filmmaker making a Chinese folktale into a movie, and it really shows. When Disney faced backlash about hiring a white lady to direct this movie, in a February 2020 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, she responded to the criticism by saying, although it's a critically important Chinese story and set in Chinese culture and history, there's another culture at play here, which is the culture of Disney, and that the director, whoever they were, needed to be able to handle both, and here I am. Which, what? First of all, who are you? And what makes you specifically suited to handle Disney culture? Which is what? What does that mean? And are you trying to say that an Asian director couldn't handle Disney culture? The fuck are you talking about here? This is such a non-statement. Also, here's another quote from an interview with Film School Rejects, which I hate. It starts, firstly, I resist the idea that you tell somebody who can tell what story. That sounds a little bit like censorship to me. You know, white directors whining about not getting opportunities to direct and just get the hell out of my face. And then she goes on and on about how diverse people need to be allowed to tell stories and not just white people, all the while being a white person appropriating a classic Chinese story. Like you're literally preaching the thing you're not practicing as you preach it. The hypocrisy is maddening. And let me be clear, I am blaming Disney. This is not really her fault. She's just working. Disney has prepped and approved what she has to say, and what she has to say is nonsense. The cast is horrible. All the men are dull and forgettable, and the only interesting characters are Mulan and the witch lady, whose name I don't know. And Mulan is only interesting because she's the main character and has the most screen time. Liu Yifei, who plays Mulan, looks great in the role and the costume, but that's about as far as it goes. Her performance is flat and empty, and it does nothing to draw you into the world or the struggle of the character. The one person that I had been excited to see was Jimmy Wong, who my YouTube lovers will recognize as Freddie Wong's brother, and the best part of VGHS, which is on YouTube, so go see it. But his role, along with every other supporting character, is so useless and dull and just nothing. There's no time spent on their characterization or their individuality for us to get attached to any of them. It's like none of them have any personality. Even the romantic subplot is so half-baked, we are given no reason to even think that these characters may have feelings for each other, and when they randomly start displaying them, we have no reason to root for them. Actually, we are given no reason to root for anything in this movie. The story is boring and the treatment is slow and haggard. And it just has no heart. Even the opening scene that's supposed to show us Mulan's love for life and energetic nature comes off as fake and tokenized. The only character with any substance is the witch lady, who, if she has a name, I didn't catch it and I couldn't be bothered to look it up. She's played by Gong Li, who you may recognize as one of the greatest actresses in China right now, most notable for her work in Memoirs of a Geisha. Her character is deep and full of lore, and she looks cool, and she goes through a real journey. I mean, she has more of a character arc than Mulan does, which is kind of sad because Mulan's the protagonist. The movie's a real mess, guys. I want to talk about the action for a second, because this is where it all really falls apart. I think they may have been trying to emulate classic Chinese wire work fight sequences for the action scenes, like the ones you may have seen in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but it does not work in this film. It's very clumsy and half-baked, and there's simply too many cuts for it to be properly effective. The reason why it works in Chinese cinema is because it's grand. The camera steps back, the fighters fly in the air, making striking poses almost like dancers, and follow a strict and fluid choreography. It feels theatrical and majestic. Here, I think the attempt was to replicate that but also keep it realistic, which isn't working out. The camera shakes too much, and it's very clear that they're flitting between CG body doubles and wire work, and that horrible motion blur transition in between them is ugly and jarring and completely takes you out of the action. The Matrix is a good example of marrying realism and theatrical action choreography, and Mulan is not. And you can't say, but it's an animation adaptation, it's not meant to be realistic. The director has been touting this as the most realistic realism anyone has ever reeled. They cut out the songs in the name of realism, and they cut the dragon sidekick out in the favor of a CGI phoenix that kind of just floats around in the background of 3 scenes in the name of realism, and none of it works. This is a weak, feeble, unnecessary, expensive remake with nothing to say and no substance, and severely downplays a woman's struggle against systematic patriarchy and misogyny. And this movie doesn't deserve your time. And it certainly isn't worth the extra $30 on top of the $13 you're already paying for Disney+.